This is just going to be a quick video of opportunity. I see a lot of discussion on the internet forums about the Marlin lever action versus the Winchester Model 94 lever action. And generally the consensus that I see is that the Marlin is much better. It's much higher quality and stronger and simpler and more reliable. Whereas the Winchester Model 94 is a piece of junk that's prone to problems, and it pukes its guts out every time you cycle it, and so on. And just basically, if you're going to get a traditional style lever action rifle, it should be a Marlin, not a Winchester. Well, I've had numerous examples of both, and grew up with them, in fact, and that has not been my experience at all. And in fact, I've had practically no failures, none that I can think of right now at all, in fact, with the Winchester Model 94. And in fact, I have currently a Winchester Model 94 that is beat up, and it's one of the worst of the worst Winchester Model 94s, which is an early post 64. And it's kind of ugly. All the finish is worn off of it, except for, I mean, the bluing is still on the barrel, but the receiver doesn't hold blue on those things because of the composition of the steel. And anyway, when I bought it, I got it for $125 just because it was so beat up looking. But it's got a nice tight chamber and everything. It shoots accurately. But it had the wrong screw in the side that secures the loading gate. And so the loading gate, and it was stripped out. It had the wrong screw and it was stripped out. The threads were stripped out of it. And it's still like that, in fact. I still haven't gotten around to fixing it because the loading gate just kind of floats around in there freely, but it still works. And it works as a repeater, in fact. You can load rounds into the magazine and cycle it through, and it works just fine. And I killed 2 deer in one day with it the first year that I had it. And both just one shot, bang, flop right there. But, you know, most of my Marlins that I've had problems with, I have them occasionally jam when I'm attempting to cycle rounds from the magazine into the chamber. Cycle rounds through the action, in other words. And it mostly happens with the newer ones. I had a 1895, early 70s 1895, which is the same action as a 336, but it's just chambered in 4570 instead of the typical 30-30 and 35 Remington that the 336s are chambered in. But it is the same action. But I had an early 70s one that I never had any problem with, but I traded it for a Ruger flat top. In fact, that's another story. And I bought one of the early guide gun 1895s, which I still have. And that one occasionally jams. The early 70s one never jammed. But that's not to say it couldn't possibly, but it never did. So anyway, I made the video of, and you guys have probably seen it already, of this Model 336, made in 1982, which 82 should be early enough to not have any problem. And because they were still good quality as of 1982. And so, as I say, you guys probably already saw the video of me discussing the 35 Remington cartridge and this rifle chambered for it, and shooting the rifle. So I was getting ready to take a photo of this rifle today for the thumbnail for that video, and I had it loaded with some of these 200 grain round nose loads. Had the magazine loaded, chamber empty, and I was cycling the rounds through it to unload it so I could place the magazines beside, the cartridges beside the rifle for the photo. And on the last one, this happened. Now this is one of the typical problems that I've had happen with the Marlins. And I should have brought a flashlight. Let me see if I can shine this light into it. You probably won't be able to see it. No, it's not going to be able to work. But what happens is the cartridge lifter tries to lift while there's still a case in there, and it jams it. And this is what happens when that occurs. It jams the cartridge against the cartridge lifter, and it locks up the gun. You can't do anything with it at that point. Now it's simple to fix. You just got to have some kind of tool. Your finger won't reach in there because the ejection port is too small, unless you've got really small fingers. But you've got to have something small enough to reach in there and push the cartridge forward. And the loading gate won't open either, so reaching through there is not going to work. If it would open, now that's another thing about the Winchester 94, by the way, is you can pinch the loading gate open even when the magazine is loaded. You can't do that you can even do it with the lever open. You can't do that with a Marlin. And to me, that's a pretty big advantage for the Winchester. So anyway, I've described what you got to do to unjam it, but I just wanted to show you guys why, to me, the Winchester is a better rifle.